It is so nice to see all of you. I'm Holly Breeden. I'm an operations leader here at Atrium Health Union. And a lot of you have been talking to me via phone, email, Facebook. And I appreciate you all being here today. But I chair the Memorial Wall Committee, and it is an honor to put this program on every year. So I just wanted to welcome you and to let you know to get your breakfast, and we're going to settle in and get started. I'm going to invite my leader, Missy Baker, up to say a few words for you. She's our chief nurse at Union West and supports Atrium Health Union. So this is Missy.
Hi, everybody. Thank y'all so much for being here today. This is actually one of my most favorite days of the year. So just to get to celebrate those who were with us in the past and are no longer here, but truly made such an impact on our heart and our lives while they were here. And you know, with every one of these individuals that we are going to honor today, I knew each and every one of them. So that makes it even more special, because oftentimes it's people who have worked here before. But this year, these are truly individuals that I knew. So like Holly said, my name is Missy Baker. I started at Union 23 years ago, and recently, in the past 18 months, took the chief nurse officer job at Union West. So just truly thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing us to honor your loved ones today with this ceremony and adding these sweet individuals to our wall. So I hope that each and every one of you will go and see the wall as you are here today, because it's truly impactful. And just to have that on this campus means everything in the world. So at this time, I will invite Mandy to come up, and she is going to start with an invocation.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mandy Singleton. I'm the Manager of Spiritual Care and Education here at Atrium Health Union and Union West. I love this day, and I know that it can be bittersweet for all of you, and I just love the fact that this hospital takes the time to honor the contributions that your loved ones have made here. And so why don't we begin this morning with a prayer. So if y'all will pray with me. Holy One, we're so grateful for this opportunity to gather here today to honor those who through their professional lives made amazing contributions to this hospital. As I looked around this room this morning and saw so many of y'all gathered here today, it is so obvious to me that your loved ones were well loved, which speaks to the type of people they were. God, we ask for your comfort around them this morning, that you would give strength to those who are still grieving. May they find solace in the cherished memories they have and on the impact their loved ones had on all those with whom they worked and on the continued growth of Atrium Health Union. We thank you for the time that we had with them, for the memories that we will always cherish, for the dedication and care that they showed to their patients and colleagues. God, we ask that you bless them and grant them eternal peace. For those of us who continue to serve in this hospital, may we carry forward the legacy of all those who came before us. And may your name be glorified. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mandy. And so at this time, to start our celebration, I would like to invite Denise White, our facility exec and chief nurse executive, to the podium.
Good morning. Thanks, Missy. Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing today on this kind of a little bit cooler Saturday? So it's a good day to be here, right? We're having that joy. So it's an honor to be here today. As Missy said, I'm Denise White. I'm the facility executive and chief nurse here at Union. And like Missy mentioned, this is one of our favorite days. It's a sad day, but it's an exciting day because we get to honor some people that made us who we are today. We wouldn't be the organization we are today without every person that we're putting on the wall who made very unique contributions to us. So just want to thank everybody for being here. Spend a little time of just telling you how we got here. In 2003, and when I looked at that date yesterday, it was like, that's 20 years ago. That's kind of hard to think that we've been doing this this is our 19th time we've done this, but 20 years ago, a group of employees here got together and said, you know, they met with the administration and said, we have a lot of our teammates who have done amazing things that have gone on. It might be an employee, it might be a physician, a volunteer. And around the campus, there's a lot of different recognition. There's some benches, there's some plaques, there's different things to memorialize individuals. But the team wanted to look at a way that we could kind of put it all together. So they said, how about if we work on trying to create some kind of program or something that will honor our teammates who have gone on to really make a difference in our community. So they decided that they wanted to do a wall, have plaques on the wall that would tell the story about who they were, but take it a step further. They said, how do we honor their legacy by continuing to grow individuals in healthcare, other areas? So they proposed that we do a scholarship too. So what happened was, in 2004, we had our first ceremony where we honored individuals who had left us, but we also were given that opportunity to provide scholarships. So in the past 19 years, we've given away either 2 or 3 scholarships every year to a dependent. So what that means is that every February, we ask for applications. So if someone works here, their dependent, their child, their grandchild, their stepchild can actually apply for a scholarship. And the way that works is that it's not by who their family member is. It's not a popularity contest. It's truly a blinded process. So it's pretty rigorous in that we ask the individuals to complete an application that tells us a lot about their story, about your journey, what you're looking for, where you're going in your life, things you've accomplished, where you've been. And we also ask for letters of recommendation. So we get letters of recommendations. It might be from their teachers. It might be from someone in their church. It might be from someone from where they work. And then our scholarship committee gets together and we look at all of those blinded. No names on them, really just award it clearly on merit. Then we determine the top 2 to 3, depending on how many scholarships we're given that year, and then we vote on that to make sure that that's a representation of the committee. So it's a pretty challenging process. We don't want to just say, oh, here's a scholarship and here's a scholarship, because we know that when we hand out these scholarships to individuals, it's a representation of our history. It's a representation of your family members. It's a representation of the legacy that they've left behind. So we take that very seriously. So the process of creating this, we're in our 19th year, and we're really honored today to be here to honor 6 individuals who made a difference in this organization. As Missy said, this is the first time, and I've been here 21 years. It's the first time that I've worked personally with each one of these. So it's a very emotional when you think about that you've walked the halls with these individuals and taken care of patients with these individuals. When you think about that, but what an honor it is for us today to be here to recognize them and all they've done for us. So I'm going to take some time here now to honor 6 very important individuals who made a huge contribution to our organization. Our first honoree is Regina Avery, a registered nurse who retired and came back working guest services, so she did it all. Regina was born April 2nd, 1947, and left us on September the 1st, 2021. She was born in Cabarrus County. She was the daughter of the late Lawrence Julius King Price and Lenny Mae Simmons Price. She was preceded in death by her first husband, James Allman, and her daughter, Shannon Elaine Allman, and Shannon is one of our honorees on our wall too, so we had the honor of recognizing her recently. Regina is survived by her loving husband, Don Avery, who worked here and retired too, so this legacy continues here. And her daughter, Jennifer Allman Ravenscroft, whose husband, Travis, works here too, and a grandson, Nick, who she loved dearly, and his wife, Abigail. So there's a lot of history with this family. Regina was a wonderful, caring, thoughtful, and amazing woman. She had the biggest heart and would always do anything she could to help people. As a registered nurse for many years in the postpartum labor and delivery department, she worked at Cabarrus Memorial Hospital and Union Memorial, as many of you know it, now Atrium Health Union. While working at Atrium Health, she was known to walk over to Jesse Helms Nursing Center to play the piano for the residents. Her worship time there meant a lot to her, and it meant a lot to the residents. Once retired, she carried a desire to be part of the hospital family, so she went back to work as a teammate at the main lobby desk at Atrium Health Union. She loved to greet our visitors and their families. Finally retiring for the second time, she enjoyed time with her husband, Don, and her 2 daughters. Regina loved to can vegetables in her spare time along with cooking amazing meals, and we were privy to that here. And she loved animals. Regina's laugh, smile, and loving soul is forever truly missed. One of the things that I will tell you about Regina, it didn't matter where she was in this building, what department she was working in, you walked up and she had a smile. It didn't matter if the building was on fire, if it was the worst day she had ever had, if everything was falling apart around her, she was smiling, and she would always ask, "How are you doing?" She wanted to know how everybody else was. So it's a great honor today that we recognize Regina Avery for all her contributions to this organization, and thank you, family, for letting us do this. So at this time, I'd like to ask a member of the family to come forward. Thank you. Thank you. We love her. Thank you. It's now my honor to recognize Shirley Deese. And unfortunately, Shirley's daughter tried very, very, very hard to get here, and the airlines were not cooperative, so we're trying to live stream this to her in Florida today, so she was very disappointed. So Shirley Deese was a registered nurse born April 19th, 1936, and passed away July 16th at 2022. Shirley was a very humble woman. In her early childhood, her and her siblings were abandoned, and she ended up being in foster care until her aunt and uncles took them under her wing. She went on to achieve much in her life. She is survived by her children, Ricky and Kim, and a very special nephew, Darren. Shirley graduated from CPCC in 1970 with an associate's degree in nursing. Her entire nursing career was with Atrium Health, Union Memorial, everything we've been. She spent it all here, and she loved her work immensely, making many friends every day of her life. It was impossible to go anywhere with her in the community without her seeing somebody she knew. She was a lifetime member of Philadelphia Baptist Church until Alzheimer's took over her life. She missed very few Sundays in the Lord's house. She was very strong in her faith, and she loved playing music, particularly hymns. One thing Shirley was passionate about, and I know this, was community wellness, and she made illness prevention her mission. Anyone within Shirley's orbit was asked if they had had their flu shots. It was hard to believe this picture of vim and vigor could ever have had a sick moment in her life, but she swore the Korean flu nearly killed her one year, and ever since she took her flu shot consistently, and she thought everyone else should too. I will tell you that that's one of my biggest memories of Shirley Deese, sitting in at nursing administration talking to Joyce Pressler, and everybody that walked in the door, "Have you had your flu shot? Have you had your flu shot?" She was passionate about that. And also, when I'd ask somebody, "Have you had your flu shot?" they said, "Shirley hadn't given it to me yet." Because everybody wanted Shirley Deese to give them their flu shot. Shirley was passionate about flowers and animals and would take pictures of them, sharing them with family and friends. She loved people and volunteered at local nursing facilities, either doing activities with them or engaging them in singing when she played the piano. She cared for several friends and relatives until their death. She regularly visited housebound friends and people in the community, offering conversation, food, and always a cake. Kim stated that she often would come home for a visit, and it was not unusual to see 3 to 4 cakes on the counter, and she said, "We're going to visit these people." We would go over to Union Park where she volunteered. She's always remembered as a selfless, loving, and caring person. Her quick wit and feisty personality are missed, as well as all the times she made everyone laugh. But one of the things that I think is, when Kim shared this with us, it really hits the soul of what she is and what nursing is. Kim said, however, the most important thing she learned from her that later carried her through her own nursing career was to always put the patient first, be kind, and love what you do. She absolutely loved her nursing career and the people she met along the way. You never heard her complain about any day, nursing shortages, or the amount of work to be done. She always said, if one would quit complaining, they would have most of their work completely done. That's why I like Shirley. That's my opinion too. As facilities continue to grow and modernize, as we become more dependent on technology and those type of solutions, we must not forget those indomitable spirits like Shirley, whose steadfast care and all that she did made a difference to so many people. So thank you, Shirley, for what you did. Thank you, family, for letting us honor her today, because she truly made a difference for our community. So would a family member come forward? It's now my honor to talk about Dr. Millicent Francis Lane, who was one of our physicians here, born May 10th, 1942, and passed away this February 26th. Dr. Francis Lane loved her family. Let's just put that out there first and foremost. She loved her family, and that's all she talked about. Her family and her church and her community. That's very important to her. She loved her 3 children, Malika, Rashad, and Kara, and she absolutely adored her grandchildren. Dr. Francis Lane, though, let me tell you this, she was a sharp dresser, and one of the only doctors that I ever knew who could deliver a baby in high heels, take off her gown, and look just as good as she did when it started. And I will guarantee you she had on a beautiful brooch and a wonderful watch while she was doing that. I would see her come in the back door every morning, and that woman was put together. She matched from head to toe, and she could do it all. Dressed like that all day. Didn't matter how many deliveries, C-sections, surgeries she had to do. At the end of the day, she looked exactly like she did when she came in the door. She was amazing. That always impressed me. She loved serving as an elder at the Pageland Seventh-day Adventist Church, now Door of Hope. She was passionate about helping out in the community, serving as a chairperson and organizer for a health fair held at the Pageland Watermelon Festival every year. She loved each of her patients and would take time to talk with them and pray for them. Her loving and caring manner is one of the many things that she passed on to her children, and is one of the many reasons that she was so loved by her patients as well as those who worked with her. She was known as Mom, Grandma, Millie, Aunt Millie, or Dr. Lane, and was born in Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. She was one of 13 children who, along with her other siblings from the time she was young, had the important value of education, especially the Christian education, as part of her being. She would continue her education in Barbados, where she excelled and even skipped a grade in high school. We knew she was really smart. After graduating high school, she went on to Caribbean Union College, now known as the University of the Southern Caribbean in Trinidad, before continuing to the Atlantic Union College in South Lancaster, Massachusetts, where she earned a Bachelor's of Science degree, minoring in theology and majoring in biology. It was quite a shock to her, though, going from sunny, warm tropics to Massachusetts, 16 degrees with snow. But she did it because she was dedicated to her goal of becoming a doctor, and she did not waver in that. Her faith and strong Christian upbringing also gave her the strong roots needed to succeed. Upon her graduation, she worked as a bank secretary while also working as a medical research assistant, specializing in biology at Columbia University. So she achieved and she kept going. But she didn't stop there. In 1973, she married her husband, Robert Lane. She welcomed 2 children, while she continued and persevered to complete her medical doctorate degree at the University of Florida in Gainesville. In 1979, she completed her internship and fellowship in obstetrics and gynecology at Mercy College in Pennsylvania, and welcomed another child along the way. Upon completion of her internship, she moved to Newark, New Jersey, where she completed her residency in OBGYN at the University in Medicine and Dentistry School of New Jersey. And then she served as a staff physician at St. John and West Shore Hospital in Westlake, Ohio. But we got lucky in 1987. In 1987, she decided to load her family up and come to Union County. She loved the opportunity she had here at Union Memorial Hospital. And she knew when she visited here the first time, this is where she wanted to make her home. She rented a house sight unseen because it is where she felt compelled to begin the next chapter for her and her family. She opened the doors for her private practice, Union County Women's Care on Doe Street. That was one of her proudest moments. Another was when she opened her office on Franklin Street. And she ran that practice until she retired in February of 2019. She was here for 30 years serving our community. But let me tell you, she delivered over 20,000 babies in this community, including many of her nieces and her nephews. And to this day, when you walk around this community, you will still hear people talk about Dr. Frances Lane and the difference she made for them. She was a doctor who took time with her patients, she sat with her patients, and like I said, she prayed with her patients. You don't see that today. So it was an honor and a privilege to have her as part of our family for many years. Thank you for sharing her with us, because we know that y'all shared it with us, because she spent a lot more time with us than she did with y'all as a family. So thank you for that. At this time, I'd like to ask a family member to come forward. Our next honoree is Betty Griffin. And one thing we know about Betty Griffin is she was small in stature, but mighty. We know that about Betty, if you knew her. She was born March 16, 1933, and passed away October 22nd of last year. She was born in Union County, and she lived here all her life. The one thing about Betty is she had a career before she came here too. She worked at BB&T for 30 years as a senior loan officer, and then she retired. But like many people in retirement, doesn't quite work out. She needed something to do. So Betty, thank goodness, decided to come here to us, and she became a hospital receptionist at the front desk where she could interact with people. And Betty stayed with us 20 more years. So she had a long career, but let me tell you one thing about Betty. Betty was sharp. And if somebody walked in that door, I guarantee she knew them, or she knew who they belonged to. And she could have a conversation with anybody. She's exactly the person we wanted at that front desk to make people welcome. But one thing about Betty that you know was she had a very dry, quick wit. If you were around her much, she's going to tell you something that made you laugh, because she was feisty, and that's why we loved her so much. She really made a difference, and she was one of the hardest working women that was ever known, according to her daughter, and we would agree to that. And when Betty had to finally retire due to health issues, it wasn't easy for her, because Betty liked people. She liked being around people, she liked interacting with people, but she needed to retire, and it was our loss. She was a member of the Memorial United Methodist Church, where she served as a treasurer for many years. In her spare time, she loved to cross-stitch, knit, needlepoint, and crochet. She also spent lots of times with friends playing bridge. She's survived by her daughter Karen Helms, her son Don Griffin, her grandson Wesley, his wife Amber, and her great-granddaughters Caitlin and Chandler. One of the things too about Betty is Betty cared about other people. Y'all may not know, my mom worked here on her second job, and she retired again. And one of the things that Betty always asked me every time I saw her, how's your mom? She wanted to know about family. She wanted to make sure that everybody was okay, because she spent a lot of time taking care of others. And I will guarantee you, when she walked in that front door, when you walked in the front door of this hospital and Betty Griffin was there, you felt welcomed, you felt love, and you know that you were in the right place because of Betty. So family members, thank you for sharing Betty with us. We miss her, but thank you for letting us have 20 years with her. So at this time, will you please come forward?
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is so nice.
Our next honoree is Mary Pagan. Mary was born in Indiana, but she found her way here. She was the oldest of 7 children and grew up on a farm in Illinois. After moving with her family to Florida, she attended the University of Florida and met her husband, Joe Pagan. She claimed to have chosen her nursing career only because her college roommate was in the nursing program, but I don't believe that. After 44 years, there's little doubt that a nurse is what she was meant to be. We know that because we were honored to have her here. She started her nursing program at the University of Florida, and I'm supposed to say go Gators, and that's hard as an Alabama grad, but I'm going to say it for Mary, go Gators, in 1960. and she retired from Union Regional Medical Center in 2004. Her friends and family knew that nursing was her calling, not just her profession. She was passionate and fearless. She was always up for an adventure, whether it was bicycling for multiple sclerosis, cruising and parasailing in the Bahamas with family and the executive committee, kayaking in Alaska with her sister Kathy, or on the coast of North Carolina with her partner Ken. She loved camping, skiing, boating, and flying, even studying for a pilot's license. She enjoyed traveling with Ken to visit family in all four corners of the country. She was generous and kind, and her beautiful blue eyes will be missed by so many. She's preceded in death by her husband Joe and her daughter Lisa, as well as her mom and dad. She shared her love of her outdoors and sports with her siblings, Therese, Catherine, Claire, Nick, Chris, and Fritz. I think I got them all there. Her children, Tony and Debbie, Tina and Larry, and Jennifer were camping, boating, and skiing from a very early age. All of them, including her grandchildren, knew Grandma loved all kinds of music. And I'll tell you, I do know this. She attended many concerts, including her yearly pilgrimage to the Merle Fest. That's one of the things that she didn't miss. And everyone loved dancing with Grandma, including Ken, her partner in adventure. She leaves behind a legacy as well as many beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, and millions who are left to celebrate her life. Mother Teresa once said, "In this life we cannot do great things, but we can only do small things with great love." The many small things that Mary Pagan did throughout her life accomplished great things with the great love that she shared. She always lived her life to the fullest and encouraged everyone around her to do the same. She was truly one in a million. And one of the things that I know that there is not many nurses here at Union that are still working, that have worked with Mary Pagan, that won't say, "She mentored me. She made me a better nurse. Spending time with Mary made me a better nurse." I can't think of a better legacy to leave behind than that, because we know that nursing is a very challenging profession, and we know that you can't learn it from a book. You have to learn it from doing, and you also have to learn it from finding somebody that will support you, that will lead you, and will guide you along that journey. So Atrium Health Union that we are today, our nursing department and our team is better because Mary mentored so many people along the way, and that mentorship continues, and it continues to get passed down, and she made us better for every patient that walks through these doors. So thank you, family, for letting us have Mary, and thank you for letting us honor her today. So will a family member please come forward? And our last honoree today is Colleen Ravenscroft. Colleen was born November the 4th, 1959, and left us last year in June. She was born in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina, the daughter of Joseph and Viola Smith, and she was employed by Fresenius Dialysis Center. She was a member of Surfside United Methodist Church. She's survived by her husband Merle, 3 sons, Travis and his wife Jennifer, Eric, and Joshua, and the love of her life, her special son, grandson, who was Colleen's heart, Jet. She has 3 sisters, Nancy, Patricia, and Darlene. Colleen graduated in 1982 from Gannon Villa Maria College in Erie, Pennsylvania, and was a registered nurse who specialized in dialysis nursing for over 35 years. She loved to travel, we know that, and cruising was her favorite. There's never a time that you could walk into dialysis that Colleen didn't have a cruise planned. And we'd hear all about it. We'd know about it. We'd know where she's going, who was going, what they were going to do, what their adventures were going to be, what they were going to eat, because she loved to cruise. And so I like to do things too, so living through her was very important. She was always the life of the party, as she was so outgoing, fun, loving, and most of all, compassionate. Her long career in nursing allowed her to touch many lives, and she definitely is missed by many, and she was a beautiful soul. I will tell you that one of the things we were able to offer here at Atrium Health Union after many years without it was dialysis. It was one of the programs that was very important, and we weren't able to have that because we just could not make it happen. But we contracted with Fresenius to start the program here. And a key to that program is not who you partner with, but it's who the people are doing the work. Because one of the things that's most important is that's who's interacting with our patients. So having the right person doing that work was so important to us. The minute we met Colleen, though, there was no doubt. It was immediate. She's us. She's family. It doesn't matter who she works for. It doesn't matter who signs her paycheck. She is part of us. So our dialysis program here was successful, not because of the contract that we had with Fresenius. It was because of the people that ran the program. And Colleen was the leader. She was the mentor. She guided many nurses through that program, and she helped us be who we are today for our patients, because she didn't see this as, oh, I'm a contract employee. She saw this as, I'm a member of the Atrium Health Union family, and these are my patients, these are my people, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they get the best care ever. So Colleen was our family, and she is the reason that our dialysis program is successful today, because she took it on as her passion. She said, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make it work for every patient that enters this building. And she did. And one of the things we're blessed to have is not just her, but we have her son Travis and many family members who are here who have made us a better place. So thank you, family, for giving us Colleen, letting us have her, and never forget the difference she made for our patients in our community that need dialysis. She's the reason we are where we are today. So thank you for that. At this time, will a family member come forward? I want to say thank you again to families. Every year this is kind of a hard part for me, because I know what you sacrificed in your family for these 6 individuals to be up here today on this wall. There was birthdays they missed. There were Christmas events they missed. There were Thanksgivings they missed. There were New Year's they missed. There were everything that they missed along the way, because their heart was about taking care of people. Their heart was about being here for our community. Their heart was to be here serving. All 6 that we honor today are truly servants. They gave 100% when they were here, no matter what that meant. And this says it all. A truly great coworker is hard to find, difficult to part with, and impossible to forget. We will never forget each one of these individuals today. We will never forget what they've done for us. We will never forget Regina, Shirley, Betty, Dr. Francis Lane, Mary, and Colleen. They have made us better every single day because of what they gave. So thank you, families, for letting us honor them today. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to tell you how much they meant to us. We couldn't have done it without them, and thank you. But it doesn't end there. Here's the good part. Because of them, this is what we got to do this year. This year, we were honored to award 3 scholarships. We did the scholarship awards back in the spring because we want them to know before they graduate from high school that they've got the scholarships, so they can start the process for their programs. So this year, we were able to honor Lance Barbie. Lance's mom, Janet, y'all may know Janet, works in our ED at Union here, and now she's at Union West. Lance plans to pursue a career in construction project management at UNCC. And this week, we did a surprise patrol. We tried to surprise him. So needless to say, Lance was out working with his dad. He already works with his dad in his business. And we were able to honor him. Lance could not be here today, nor could his family, but they wanted to thank you for this honor and this opportunity to have this scholarship to continue to grow in his profession. So thank you for that. Our next honoree is here today. So Kennedy Byram, daughter of Anita Byram, who is our manager in our day surgery area. Kennedy, we ambushed her at our talent event. Her mom made her come, told her she needed to be there for some reason. So we got to pull her up on the stage and embarrass her, which all teenagers love. So we got to do that. But Kennedy was one of the ones, like I told you, that we only award these based on merit. It's about what they've done in their high school career and what we're going to see them do. So Kennedy, we were able to give her a scholarship, and she is going to pursue a degree in pharmacy right here at Wingate University. So Kennedy, you want to stand up? And Anita, her mom. So thank you for being here today. We know you're going to do great things. And our last honoree, Emma Hampton. Emma is the daughter of Tina Hampton, who works in finance, and she was brought here under the auspices of that she had to help her mom clean out her office, which she wasn't real happy about that. But that's what her mom told her, she needed some help lifting boxes. So we got to surprise her. And the thing that Emma's going to be doing is she's going to pursue a career in mental health counseling at Gardner-Webb. And I think that's huge because we know there's a huge need for behavioral health and mental health counselors in this country today. So she's going to pursue that. Emma was devastated that she couldn't be here because she actually, this is their parent weekend, I think that's what it's called, at college. So they were going to cancel and come here versus going to that weekend so she could be here to thank you. But we said, it's okay. We'll thank them for you. And she wanted everyone to know how grateful she is for this opportunity to have this scholarship and do great things with that. So thank you for that, and we are really honored to have honor Lance, Kennedy, and Emma this year with the scholarships, thanks to your generous contribution and what your family did. So thank you, and let's give them a round of applause. This is the end of our program from a standard program together point of view. One of the things, though, we want to do is we want to give you all the opportunity to go and see the wall. The wall is located over in our outpatient treatment pavilion, and the wall itself, we have your plaques up of your family members, so we want to see that. So we're going to release families a little bit one at a time so it doesn't get real crowded in there for everybody, so we'll be doing that. But I want to say again, thank you for being here, but this didn't happen by itself. I want y'all to know that I didn't do the work on this. I don't want to stand up here and do all the talking and get the credit because it wasn't me. It was an amazing committee that does the work every year to make this happen. So if you're on the scholarship committee, I'm going to make you raise your hand, and they're all of them standing in the back and up here. So scholarship committee, there you go. Thank you. And we couldn't do it without Holly. Holly is the backbone that keeps it all together, who keeps us going. So I will tell you, thank you, Holly, for all you do to make that possible. So this is the end of our formal program. We are going to, I'm going to take the Dr. Lane's family first, and then after that, Holly will give us a plan for who's going next. But please take this time to talk, to socialize, to share memories, and please eat, because that's very important in anything we do. And thank you again for being here. Thank you to everyone that came. Thank you for those that drove from far away to be here and celebrate. We're honored to serve, and we're honored to be here for your family. So thanks again.